Hello, this is Jenny. Welcome to my channel, Designs with Paper. My video today is an art journal page, and it is my interpretation of the September 2021 Mission Inspiration prompt. So here is our prompt card. The colors are mustard ochre, burnt orange, and ocean blue. The ingredients are circles, doodles, paper fragments, drips and splatters, and stamped images. And the theme is sunsets and sunflowers. This is my art journal book that I have made for my art journal pages for Mission Inspiration this year. And I will be working on a piece of mixed media paper that is approximately 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. And I say approximately because I have this big, huge 36 foot by 36 inch roll of paper that I just cut into pages as I needed. Yeah, Amazon has the weirdest things and I love it. I am going to start with adding some color. I have the burnt orange and the ocean blue, and I am using them as paper fragments. They're not so much fragments as actually cut up squares, but we're going with my interpretation of the ingredients. I will be adhering them with my Liquitex matte gel medium, and I have sped this up quite a bit. I've also put my craft mat down because it is a slick non-porous surface and it is easier to get that mixed medium off of when I'm cleaning up. So I have these blue, ocean blue squares of pattern paper. They are approximately 1.5 by 1.5 inches, and I am offsetting them in kind of a staggered position, one line after the other. I am using this to create kind of a sky for my background page, and I will put 3 lines, I think, of the blue. Yeah, 3 lines of the blue squares down. And then I will start with my orange rectangles. Now, the orange rectangles are 1 inch by 1.5 inches, so they do actually look like a rectangle. And I wanted them to look more like a brick wall. I probably should have put some matte medium on the back of each square or rectangle as I was putting it down. It would have been a little less fiddly, but whatever. I also will offset these orange brick squares to make that brick wall look. I am using matte medium because I want to be able to doodle over the top of the page with some permanent ink, and I need the page to be non-porous for that. I often use matte medium or Mod Podge to create that non-porous surface on the top of my paper. So now I'm going to go ahead and add this last row of bricks in, and you will notice that either my page isn't cut straight or I didn't get these all in a straight line. I am not concerned about that. I can fix that bottom that's sticking out later. So once I have these all stuck down, I will put a quick coat of matte medium over the top of it and then use my heat tool to dry it. This pattern paper is kind of a thicker pattern paper. It's almost like a lightweight cardstock, like a 60 weight or 60 pound cardstock. So it is going to take a minute to dry that matte gel. And I need it to be super, super dry so that I do not ruin the nibs of my brushes on the markers, the brush nib of my markers that I will be using for the next step. So I do want to make sure that the back is really dry, just to keep the paper from moving, but also that the front has no standing puddles of matte gel or gel medium. I call it matte gel because it's matte. It's not shiny, but it's actually a medium, gel medium. I don't know. It's that stuff that I glue the paper down with. Anyway, now that I've got this all dried, I am going to go ahead and trim off the edges. I want to clean those edges up so that they are all straight and flush. I am just using a $2 pair of scissors from Target probably to clean that off, and then I can wash them with a damp rag or a baby wipe to get any sticky residue off. I don't care if these get sticky. They're not. They are my garbage scissors. They are my sticky paper scissors. Okay, for the doodling part of this or ingredient to this art journal page, I will be using my Pitt Artist Big Brush pens. These are India ink. I do not believe that Pitt makes the big brush pens anymore. I think they went to a smaller barrel. But India ink is smudgeable for a few seconds after you put it down on a non-porous surface. So that is why I am tapping my finger on that baby wipe up there so that it's just wet enough to smear that or smudge that India ink on the page. And this is the reason I wanted those squares to be offset, so that there was a little bit of pattern and a little bit of texture in the background, and also to help those orange pieces of paper really look like a brick wall. That's kind of what was in my head as I thought this page out. So now that I have that all doodled up, I will go ahead and cover up the bottom of that is showing that I did not get the brick wall on. I have a piece of green cardstock that I am ink blending with a blending brush to kind of give a little bit of highlight and low light. This was cut with a Lawn Fawn Grassy Hill stamp, or sorry, Grassy Hill die. And I will adhere that to the bottom of the page with my Tombow Mono liquid glue. Now, liquid glue and I are frenemies. I love what it does. I hate that it gets on my fingers. And I always have a baby wipe close by that I can clean my fingers off with. And many times during my art journal or card making process, I will go and wash my hands. I just do not like to have glue on my fingers. It's just gross. Anyway, I'm going to trim the edges of that grass off and go ahead and proceed to my next ingredient. The next ingredient I want to, well, let's see, pull up the cards, see what we've got going on. We've got our orange, we've got our ocean blue, we have our paper fragments and our doodles. And yes, I'm calling those lines doodles because I'm interpreting it my way. The next thing I want to add is stamped images, and I will be using this Stampers Anonymous Tim Holtz stamp set, and I will be using that postage stamp and the script stamp. And I will be stamping those with archival ink. I am using archival ink because it is waterproof. So when I put some more matte gel over the top of it, some gel medium over the top of it, it will not smear or smudge. Now the orange is, I think it's called burnt orange, and it is not that much darker than the orange paper I used. In real life, you can kind of sort of see it, but mostly it just kind of looks like another part of the design of that paper. As you can see, the paper's got kind of a little flowered motif on it, and it just kind of looks like it's part of that design. The blue, instead of using a light blue, I use this cobalt blue. It is a little bit darker. I did kind of want that to stand out just a little bit more in the sky. It kind of adds that movement to the sky that you can see when you look up. And I am just adding some script to the sky. I added the postage stamp to the sky. I will go ahead and add some script to the brick wall. And then I will pull a green archival ink out of my drawer. It is chartreuse, I believe, and add a little bit of that script stamp to the grass on the bottom there. You will notice that the script stamp I did not mount to a stamping block or a clear block. I wanted just to be able to be flexible and put it down in chunks. I didn't really want to have that whole stamped image there. I am now going to take this Potting Soil archival ink pad and go around the edges of this page. The pattern paper that I used is a white core paper, and so on the edges you could see that white shining, that white kind of standing out, and I didn't want that to be something that you noticed. So I'm going to go ahead and hide those white edges with this Potting Soil ink pad. It also adds kind of a frame of sorts, a frameless frame. Okay, excuse me. So now we have the burnt orange and the ocean blue. We also have the doodles and the paper fragments and the stamped images. I am going to next work on the circle part of this recipe. I have punched out some circles with a 1-inch and a 3/4 inch circle punch. And I'm going to use that orange and yellow one as my sun and the white ones as clouds. I will adhere them with some Tombow Mono glue, just a little dot, and then I will go over them with some matte medium. There, gel medium. Goodness sakes, I got it. It's gel medium. It is matte because it's not shiny, but the thing I'm using is gel medium. One of these days I'll get that right. I am kind of going abstract a little bit here. I am using these circles to represent some clouds in the sky, and the orange and yellow circle is a sunshine. I guess I could have just used that postage stamp and called that my circle, but I hadn't decided which stamped images I was going to be putting on this page when I was collecting all of the pieces and parts and ingredients to use. So here I've busted out my gel medium again, and I will go over those circles. I want to add some dimension to the circles with another Pitt pen. Goodness sakes, I am losing my train of thought here as I'm watching the video and doing the voiceover. I will dry this with my heat tool. It doesn't take quite as long as the whole page, but I, again, want to make sure that there is no wet gel medium or it will ruin the nib on my marker. And I really like these markers, so I don't want to ruin them. I have destroyed a number of fine tip Sharpies and even some Faber-Castell fine tip pens by not making sure my matte gel and my Mod Podge and my liquid adhesive was dry. I have pulled out this gray. It is a super light gray. So once I kind of smudged the first little bit, I decided I was not going to worry about smudging it. It's not dark enough that I really need to blend it in anymore. And it adds kind of that shadow, the drop shadow behind my circle clouds. Just enough to pull them off the page and make them look like their own thing without drawing too much attention to them. And I used the brighter orange for the sun in the same way. I put it around the outside orange circle and then added a little tiny bit to the yellow circle and kind of smeared that around a little bit just to add some shadowing, some shadows and highlights. That's how we get dimension in our art. All right, so I've got my background done. I have all of the ingredients except the drips and splats. But before I get to the drips and splats, I want to work on the theme or the focal image. And I chose sunflowers. And I have this Simon Says Stamp daisy die. And I just layered it a little bit extra so that it would look a little more sunflower-y. Now, I could have and probably should have added at least one more layer of petals to make it a little bit fuller. But it's okay. They read like a sunflower with that dark middle. You know, if I had done it in white paper with a yellow middle, for sure would have read a daisy. But with the yellow petals and the dark center, it looks like a sunflower. And here is where I'm pulling in that third color, that mustard ochre. The cardstock I used is actually kind of a daffodil kind of yellow, like, no, not a neon yellow, but kind of a brighter yellow. And then I inked it up with a darker yellow ink so that it would have that sunflower look to it. Kind of mustardy, not French's mustard, but, you know, like regular mustard. It's got that yellow tint to it. Yeah, that's what we're going for. It's mustard ochre, whatever color that really is in real life. I don't know, but in my art journal page, it is that color of yellow right there. I am going to use this Tombow glue. One good thing about this sticky glue is that you do not have to squeeze the barrel for the ink to come out, which is really good because the stems on these sunflowers are skinny. They are dainty. Now, I know in real life, sunflowers have some really thick stems, but in real life, sunflowers are huge. Okay, we're just going to go with what we got. So I like this Tombow glue because you don't have to squeeze to get the glue to come out, and you can get glue on these dainty little surfaces. I'm just going to try and add this next flower. I want it to be slightly taller than the first one. There's a little bit of fiddling going on when I am gluing the flower heads down, the petals down. I am only putting glue underneath the very middle and the very bottom of each petal. I kind of wanted the petals to come off the page just a little bit. I don't know, just for fun, because that's how it's supposed to be. I kind of overlapped that first flower a little bit too much. So once I've got this third flower on, I will do a little bit of rearranging of the flowers to kind of get, so you can see all three flowers. I have a hard time doing things in odd numbers because my brain is weird and he likes things even Steven. And so I have to really consciously work at creating odd patterns or odd numbers of things because visually that's more appealing. Except for if you have a weird brain like mine who likes even numbers of things. Anyway, so we're going to go back to this first flower, or the second flower rather, and kind of pick it up gently. The Tombow glue has already started gripping, but it's not dry all the way, so I can fidget a little bit. Like that bottom flower might be a little bit roughed up, but I'm going to cover it up again so it's not too bad. I am going to slide it under one of these petals just so that you can see that there are in fact 3 flowers there. And now I'm going to wipe all of the glue off my fingers because it's driving me nuts. Okay, so the quote I found on Pinterest, which I went to my Pinterest board of quotes and found one that fits, and it says, "Her heart bloomed sunflowers so she would always face the light." And it is by Gemma Troy. And I saw it on Pinterest, I don't know when, and pinned it. And anytime I need a quote for an art journal, I just go to my Pinterest quote board and find something that kind of fits the theme of what I'm doing. Although sometimes I use the quote to make the page. So here we go. I did put that down with the Tombow Mono and then decided to go over it again with the gel medium just to make sure that it was good and stuck down. I didn't really, I thought for a minute that I would kind of doodle around the box a little bit, add some more doodles, but then I decided that I would just leave it be, that I like it how it is. And I still have to add the splatters, and the doodles might have just gotten lost with the splatters anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and dry that gel medium so that I can add the final ingredient to this art journal page. So we now have all 3 colors and all of the ingredients except the splats or drips. I'm not going to do drips because I don't want to. I'm just going to do some paint splats. And I am using this acrylic paint, and I'm watering it down, and I will use my fan brush to add the splats. And at first my fan brush is way too wet and way too full of paint, and it kind of made a big huge bleh right there in the middle of it. However, because the paper has been covered with gel medium and is non-porous, I can wipe that right off and start over. So that's what I did. And through the magic of editing, you did not have to watch me do that. You're welcome. All right, so here is my art journal page, and it has been dried off, and I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so that you can see some of the texture and read the quote. And all that's left now to do is glue the recipe card to the back. This is something that I watched Mike do and decided I would always do so that I could remember why I did what I did when I created this page. So one thing I wanted to let you know is that I have decided to add a second video a week. I will be uploading an art journal video and a card making video each week. I feel like I do a lot of both for fun, for my own mommy moment away from my mommy duties, and I can try to get 2 videos in a week. So thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this video process, and have a great day. See you later.